Good afternoon. We're going to call this meeting to order. If you are not satisfied with the decision made by the Traffic and Parking Commission, you may appeal the decision by filing a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of the entry of the Commission's decision. We advise that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met. Item 2.0, approval of today's agenda. So there's a couple of administrative changes on item 6.0. Item 6.1.2, we are going to split those items into two separate agenda items to match the staff report. So the item 6.1.2 will be for Woodmont Lane and Tulane Court. And then we're going to take Woodmont Lane and Dartmouth Avenue to 6.1.4 to match the staff report. And then in the staff report, there's a line item 6.1.3, new multi-way stop control for Woodmont Lane and Auburn Lane that will be on next month's agenda because that item was not published on this agenda prior to us making the agenda public. Did I get that right?
Great, thank you.
So from an administrative standpoint, procedurally, the new multi-way stop control for Woodmont Lane and Auburn Lane will be on next month's meeting. Now, for the public comment section, I understand a lot of you all are here. We're still open to having dialogue and conversations on the record. So if you're coming up to talk about Woodmont Lane and Auburn Lane, by all means, speak your piece. But we will not be voting on that item until next month. Okay. So with those two items, do I have a motion to amend the agenda as stated just now?
So moved.
We have a second. Second. It's been first and second. Any question or comments on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 2.0, approval of the agenda has been passed. 3.0, approval of the meeting minutes. One thing on that as well, there was an email sent by Commissioner Gaines, which with a few amendments or changes. Should I just read these out loud, or what's the best way to record these amendments?
Yeah, I think we could read them into the record.
Okay. So for the record, a few things that are going to be amended. A name change or a spelling of Ms. Gaines' name will be amended to add an E, and then that will be updated throughout the meeting minutes. And then we will amend Captain James William and add Captain to the front of his name as he's so well deservedly earned. And then from a staff standpoint, adding Megan Matheson to staff in the meeting minutes. I believe she was here last month. And then in section 4A, the notes say RRP instead of saying RPP, which, okay. So it will be, RPP will be used throughout the meeting minutes to associate itself with residential permanent parking. Is there anything else that commission or staff would like to address in the meeting minutes from last month? Okay, so for item 3.0, the meeting minutes from June 8th, 2026, do I have a motion to amend the meeting minutes and correct it as spoken just now?
Motion to move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been first and second. Any questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The amended meeting minutes have passed. Okay. Public comment. So I believe everybody signed up on the computer that was in front of you. Would like to recognize any council people in the room. If you don't mind, just state your name, and we'll get you all up first. Do we have any other council members? Cash, I know you're here. Well, not yet. You'll come up after him, but I just want to make sure I get everybody. Okay. You've got 2 minutes. State your name for the record and welcome.
Yep, Jordan Huffman, council member, District 14, and I won't even take the full 2 minutes, but I appreciate y'all's time. I'm here on behalf of item 5.1, which is currently on the consent agenda. You may recognize me speaking about this item here before. I had this item here last year. Unfortunately, it was not passed. The problem that I still have in my district remains the same, though. I have an intersection that is seeing a high amount of wrecks, and Jacksonian Drive is right in this area is essentially a straightaway where cars go extremely fast. This is right around the corner from Hermitage Elementary. I personally witnessed children walking to and from Hermitage Elementary on Jacksonian Drive, unfortunately having to walk in the middle of yards because cars are going so quickly. I know that a stop sign is not the end-all solution for deterring traffic and speeding. However, in this instance, we've literally tried everything. We tried a portable roundabout at this intersection in the fall of 2024. Unfortunately, that was removed due to constraint issues of space. We couldn't even get school buses down Jacksonian Drive at that time. So this is really my last-ditch effort for providing some sort of safety for this community, and I would appreciate your support for it. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Council member, please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Councilmember Tom Cash, representing District 18. I was here 2 months ago to talk about 12 South. We have had a lot of different conversations. I've had a number of small meetings. We had with NDOT's help, we had a large meeting that was well attended and talked about a lot of things. And I don't think we are at a point where we have all the solutions spelled out. I think we have gotten some great ideas on how to proceed, but part of it is I think we will need new tools in the toolbox and either pilots or legislation to do things that we can't currently do. And I'm sorting through that and researching all that. I do want to say that, this is a big problem. I've got, a lot of constituents of different, with different, I've got residents, customers of businesses, and employees of businesses, and trying to sort it all out is taking time, and trying to at least please everybody, find something for everybody in a solution. But I do want to add that one of the things that came out of the meeting and has come out of a lot of the conversations is part of the problem is a capacity problem at certain times during the week. It's a capacity problem and how much free street parking there is. And part of it is a behavior problem with there's overcapacity, but there's also over parking where you've got 3 cars parked where 2 cars are, or where 2 cars should fit lengthwise. And so we've asked, and I hope you can help support that we need some enforcement to help manage the bad parking or alleviate the bad parking. And we need some tools like paint or bollards or something along those lines to help prevent those problems and allow people to park in a good way that doesn't, block driveways and make this parking on the street seem kind of out of whack.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to the list. I would ask that as your name comes up, please come forward, hit the button, state your name for the record, and then your 2 minutes will start. We're going to switch back over to the list. There we go. Mr. Mark Miller. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Mark Miller, out of Dallas Avenue here in Nashville. Thanks for having me today. Thanks for all the work that's been going on. The Dallas group, we started experiencing this early on, so we coordinated early. We've been a part of a lot of these meetings. There's still neighborhood meetings going on with some of our people to look at the bigger picture. But today, as we talk about 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3, I just want to acknowledge the work that's been done. Our partners at NDOT have been very communicative with us, have answered our questions, I feel like. And as you vote on 7.1 through 7.3, I just want to consider a couple of things very quickly. It's going to require some partnership from the other people involved. I mean, it's our delivery partners with Cisco. It's going to be the drink delivery people. It's going to be the rideshare people. And I've not seen them at any of our meetings. However, one of our new friends with the parking company in our neighborhood came up with a great solution at our last community meeting. And I just don't think he got enough credit for that. So I just wanted to say that was appreciative. And we need to have that kind of behavior from the other players involved. So as you consider voting on 7.1 through 7.3, just know that without coordinating with the delivery drivers, without the rideshare people, we may just be talking a lot and not getting full buy-in, and we may be leaving ideas on the table that they could provide as well. However it shakes out, however you decide to vote on these things, please know we would like to have some consideration, and let's do a double check in 6 months. Let's see how this is working, how it's maybe not working, to be able to continue that conversation. Because as our neighborhood boards get together with their additional ideas to decrease the volume there, I think it's going to require everybody at the table there. And I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name. You have 2 minutes.
Lexi Holcomb. I'm speaking on behalf of the Woodmont Estates neighborhood, encouraging you to approve everything on the agenda and honestly consider more. Our neighborhood is used as the primary cut-through street for anyone traveling between north and south of Green Hills. You've all been sent a document that our neighborhood put together of maps, stories, a petition with 120 plus signatures in support of these agenda items. Lowering our speed limit would be awesome, and it doesn't solve the problem. The greatest danger on Woodmont Lane is not necessarily simply vehicle speed. It is the mismatch between how the neighborhood was designed and how it is being used. Our streets are too narrow to accommodate center lines. We have no sidewalks. We have no pedestrian route to school. We have no bus service to school. Yet we are less than a mile from Julia Green. We are a pedestrian neighborhood. All day long, people are biking, pushing their strollers, walking their dogs, and we share that road with cars. Roads that are unlined, too narrow for 4 lanes, characterized by hills, blind curves, limited sight lines, and in a number of places, stepping off the road in order to avoid a car, you would end up in a ditch or a creek. So even cars driving at 20 miles per hour, if you're pushing a stroller or walking your dog or an elderly resident, you don't have time to safely or even a place to safely step off the road. Our neighborhood is surrounded by 3 major roads: Woodmont Boulevard, Abbott Martin, and Estes. Changing the traffic calming in our neighborhood doesn't push traffic to another neighborhood. It pushes it to other arterial roads that were designed to support this regional traffic in the first place. Roads that have traffic lights, have double yellow lines, some of them have sidewalks, and they don't have kids riding their scooters and their bikes all day long. We were built as a neighborhood pedestrian road, but we are being used as a major cut through. At this point, many of us that are here say, like, we don't let our kids play on their front yards anymore. I've seen my neighbor's mailbox hit 3 times in 5 years. So we are asking for support of these agenda items and asking you to consider additional engineering studies to see what else can be done to keep our streets safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Molly Blanton. I live on Auburn Lane. We bought our home from Quinn Seagal. I believe she wrote you a letter to accompany this meeting. A very brief personal antidote. Approximately 2 months ago, I picked my kids up early from school. They are 6 and 8. We were playing in our driveway. My daughter asked if she could walk to the mailbox. I told her that would be fine. It's 300 feet away. I could see her from our driveway. I was outside working on my son's bike. She walked to the mailbox. She started walking back. She had done this with some older girls in our neighborhood. On the way back, at the exact moments when she was at the blind curve in our road, a car came flying up the hill. It was the only car on the road. It was probably going 40 miles an hour. It swerved at the last possible moment. She's very short. The car could not see her. I could not do anything about it. Since that time, she hasn't wanted to walk our dog. She hasn't wanted to play outside in our driveway. She doesn't feel that it's safe. While I appreciate so much the 20 miles an hour speed limit and the four-way stop, this will not ultimately keep my kids or our neighborhood safe. We need to decide if this is a place for pedestrians and families or if it's a commuter cut through, which is what it is currently. And again, I just don't think the stop sign or reduced speed limit, which we do appreciate, is enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, is it on? Okay, I'm Shelby Camp. I live at 3822 Woodmont Lane. I'm sad to say there is a for sale sign in my front yard, and it is solely because of this entire issue that the last two people have discussed. My kids cannot go in the front yard, and we have a very small backyard. Really quick, just a personal note. In May of 24, I had my first daughter, and once I gave birth to her, I was hit with postpartum depression, which is something I thought for some reason would never happen to me. And here I am, every doctor and every person in my life is telling me you have to get outside and get some sun. You have to get outside and go for a walk. Unfortunately, I couldn't go for walks because it just isn't an option in my neighborhood. I continued to do so. And one day, I gathered my child up, I put her in a stroller, and we were pulling out of our driveway. I had geared myself up, okay, we're gonna be brave, we're gonna go for a walk. And as we're leaving our driveway, a young kid in a Tesla who was texting and driving came down the hill flying in front of Lexi Holcomb, who just spoke, in front of her yard, and hit the mailbox for the third time that she's here to talk about. And I am, I don't know, 6 houses down from that, and bricks from the mailbox were all the way into the front of my house. And so now I've had a second child, and we simply don't go on walks, and that's just not an option. So I'm here to fight for Woodmont Lane, even though I'm being forced to leave because of this issue, and I'm so grateful in advance for the attention that y'all are putting to this issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Haley Baker. I'm an attorney. I also live on Woodmont Lane, across the street from Shelby Camp. This issue in our neighborhood is creating liability for the city of Nashville at this point. In one of the wrecks that happened last year, my mother-in-law was walking my 2 young children just 20 minutes prior to this mailbox getting hit. This is a big issue, and the speed limit and the four-way stops are a good step in the right direction, but those speed limits mean nothing if they're not being enforced, which they're not right now. We have signs throughout the neighborhood that say the speed limit is strictly enforced in our neighborhood, and it's just not true. People fly through there and with no regard for the families and the children that walk it every day. So while I appreciate this first step of lowering the speed limit and the four-way stops, it's really just the beginning on scratching the surface of this issue. And I think the bigger solution to this problem could be the the stoplight at Estes and Abbott Martin, which takes forever, and it's why people coming from Belmead cut through our neighborhood. So I would also hope that we could start to get the ball rolling on fixing that stoplight issue to make those main roads more accessible for the people that are trying to use them. Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you. Who's next? Johnny? And then who was the last one? Stephanie? Stephanie, you here? Okay, great.
Hello, my name is Johnny Mutina. I actually live at 3828 Abbott Martin, but I'm on the corner of Abbott Martin and Woodmont Lane. I'm here as the elder contingent. We bought the house in '93. We've been there 33 years. The first 10, 12 years we lived there, we were the youngsters. It was a very mature neighborhood. We didn't have any children at all. The traffic was already there. People were cutting through way back then. But it wasn't a danger. It was just an irritation. Now it's a danger. At one given time, 10 years ago, we were up to 13 children on Woodmont Lane of the age of toddler to preteen. And bear in mind, before that, we'd had none. And then all of a sudden, you have all these cars come cutting through and flying through. I have been flipped the bird more times than you really want to know. And because I'm out there working in my yard and my garden, and I have the audacity to ask people to slow down, including Tim McGraw twice. Yes, he flew through taking his kids to Innsworth, but and always in a very nice car. So at any rate, I'm just here to say this isn't new at all, but it's a real danger now. And I cannot believe a kid hadn't been hurt. Thank you.
My name's Stephanie Levinson. I live at 923 Halcyon Avenue in 12 South. I'm also the 12 South Neighborhood Association president. And I know that we are just doing a brief update today, but I wanted to ask for some tools. We have been working really hard to collaborate as a community, and that includes both the businesses and the residents on some of the parking changes and challenges that we've had. I think that the biggest challenge we've had with coming to a conclusion for what will work best for our community is a lack of information. Certain things like how many spaces on 12th or for public use are available exist currently, the type of permits that are being used for some of those spaces while building is happening or while some of those pilot food and beverage programs are happening with food trucks, things of that nature. And then how many spaces are being used for current residents, for small businesses such as legal Airbnbs, long-term renters, et cetera. I think one of our biggest challenges has been just not having enough information about the actual needs and the curb space and how it's used to make a comprehensive plan that would be accepted and approved by the majority of the people in our community. So that is my ask today, is that we can get some more information based on those things so that we can not just plan for today and solve the issues for today, but towards the future as well as our community continues to grow, both with homes being added and with businesses being added. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else on the public comment? First of all, yeah, sure. What agenda item are you looking for? Okay. Please say your name for the record.
Eric Solomon.
Sorry, make sure you hit the green button.
Eric Solomon.
Thank you.
I just want to reinforce that the four-way stops, slowing the speed bumps is truly not enough. I was going through the stop sign, the four-way stop on Woodmont Lane in Auburn, the other one we're not talking about, maybe a year ago, and a kid running late to MBA didn't wait for me to clear the four-way stop and hit the side of my car. So four-way stops are nice. It's not the end-all. I have a dog that I walk constantly in the road, so I would like to bring up a experience with my 2-year-old and 4-year-old on the street nearly getting hit, but since I walk my dog so much, I know I don't let them anywhere near the road because it'd be foolish of me. It just makes no sense. So four-way stops, lowering speed limit, sure, we need all that. Well, we need so much more.
Thank you. So that's going to end the public comment period. I just want to appreciate the community coming out and speaking their piece and their mind is very valuable to the input and the decision-making that we have on the community. It's not easy, but we do appreciate y'all's being brave and coming and doing that. 5.0, approval of the consent agenda. 5.1, CD19, authorization for new multi-way stop control for Jacksonian Drive and Bonner Creek Drive, requested by Councilmember Huffman. 5.2, CD16, authorization for new multi-way stop control for Woody Crest Avenue and Hawkworth Street, requested by NDOT via Hub Nashville. 5.3, CD24, authorization for new 30 miles per hour speed limit, lowered from 35 miles per hour on Bowling Avenue from West End Avenue to Woodmont Avenue, requested by Councilmember Gadd. And 5.4, CD16, approval of mandatory referral 2026M 006AB 001, proposing abandonment of alley number 1912 between Veritas Street and alley number 1916, requested by residents. Do we need to pull any of these items off the consent agenda, Commissioners? We'll pull 5.3. Any others? 5.3 will be moved to regular agenda. Do I have a motion on 5.1, 5.2, and 5.4?
Sorry. I was just going to note that I think do we need to correct that you said 5.1 CD19? It's
Sorry.
District 14.
5.1 CD 14. Could
I think as long as we make note of that.
make note of that for the record. Is that your district? 19?
It's Councilmember Huffman's.
Oh, okay.
Well, mine's 5. His is
Okay.
14.
I don't know if I was putting it in your lap.
No.
But yes, 5.1 CD 14, authorization for new multi-way stop control for Jacksonian Drive and Bonner Creek Drive, requested by Councilmember Huffman. My apologies for the misspeaking.
Sure.
So we do have a motion for 5.1, 5.2, and 5.4 to 4. We have a second? It's been first and second. Any question or comment on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda has been approved for 5.1, 5.2, and 5.4. 5.3, what is your question, Mr. Gibbs, Commissioner Gibbs?
My question is, with the proposal for lowering the speed limit to 30 miles per hour, I understand that puts it in the 50% percentile. Would we be coming back to this again in another year or so to maybe lower it again? And if we're close enough, why not just change it to 25 now?
Thank you, Commissioner. NDOT did do a speed study for this corridor. We split it into two segments, and we used the FHWA tool set, the NCHRP 966 speed limit setting tool, and based on the data inputs, which look at segment links, it looks at street context, it looks at crash histories. It looks at pedestrian activity, bicycle activity. It looks at actual spot speeds, and the speed limit setting tool is recommending a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit for this segment. to answer your question, would we come back and change it to 25? It's unlikely unless those data inputs changed. If we had a increase in crashes for some reason, so that some of those data inputs would be changed, then it's possible we could do that. If we had a substantial change in spot speeds, maybe people were going considerably less than 30 miles an hour for some reason, but it is unlikely that the recommended posted speed limit would change based on available current data.
Any other questions on item 5.3? We have a motion. You have a second? Second. It's been first and second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 5.3 is passed. Okay, 6.0 regular agenda. Quick question, legal, we need to do these individually, correct?
Correct. Each item is separate.
We'll start from 6.1, CD 34, new 20-mile-per-hour speed limit, lowered from 25 mile per hour, and multi-way stop control for Woodmont Lane neighborhood, requested by Councilmember Ewing. Any questions from commissioners? Well, I guess first, staff, would you all like to comment on this before we?
Thank you, Chair Mason.
Yes, sir.
This is a neighborhood that we received a request from Councilmember Ewing, who unfortunately could not be here today, but she asked us to look at the posted speed limits in the neighborhood, and I was not able to put out tube studies to get a brand new speed study for this, or get traffic data for this, but I did use the information that's in the traffic calming application from earlier this year. And that does contain, you know, the basically the same traffic data that we use for that speed study at the NCHRP 966. And what I found was of the four roads, Woodmont, Auburn, Dartmouth, and Tulane Court, what was really controlling the recommended speed limit was the 50th percentile speeds. And because Woodmont has a 50th percentile speed of 25.3, the NCHRP tool was actually recommending a speed limit of 25. I was playing with the different inputs and outputs. All the other three streets were recommended for 20 miles an hour. I should note that I didn't have speed data for Tulane Court. That's the little loop street that's on the southeastern quadrant of the neighborhood. But I can interpolate that if Dartmouth has a 50th percentile speed of 16 or 17, there's no way that Tulane is going to have a 50th percentile that's higher than that, just given the short segment. But in any case, using the tool said 25 for Woodmont and 20 for the others. And rather than have different speed limits in the neighborhood, I considered the neighborhood as a system as a whole, and I'm recommending a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit for all four of these streets. Also should note that, yes, the neighborhood has applied for neighborhood traffic calming. 2026 elections have not been announced yet. I expect that they'll have announcements for those neighborhoods to be selected, but at this time, I don't know whether this neighborhood will be selected in 2026.
Would you mind listing the four streets just so?
Sure. The four streets are Woodmont Lane, Dartmouth Avenue, Auburn Lane, and Tulane Court.
Thank you. Anything else? Commissioners, any questions? Councilman?
I think just a comment at this point, and I just want to thank everybody from the neighborhood who came out to tell us about what's going on in your area. I've heard from both my colleagues and former Commissioner Evan Siegel and Ewing about how serious this issue is. And I know that it feels like even if we were to approve everything here today, that that's not enough and that it's not happening soon enough. One thing that I will note is that sometimes when we lower the speed limit in an area, the analysis for traffic calming being warranted can change. because sometimes driver behavior doesn't quite adapt to these signs that we put up. And we find that the speeding has become more excessive after we've lowered the speed limit. There are criteria that NDOT uses to say we won't come back and revisit until it's been a certain amount of time to do another study. But I would put that on your council members' radar that once these signs are actually in effect, it might be worth requesting that, and there could be a wait associated with that, as I said, but it might be worth requesting that they go out and check the actual speeds on the ground and get fresh data on that after the speed is lowered. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you, council member. And also, I'd like to point out that when the best time to get speed data is after school begins. So once we'll have new speed limit signs put up within a couple of weeks, but the best time to go back and get revised traffic data would be really after the beginning of the new school year.
Any other questions from commissioners? Ms. Haller?
Oh, thank you, Chair. Just for procedural sake, I believe we are not discussing Auburn today. That's been deferred to August.
That's for the
that's-
multi-way stop control.
yeah,
This
that's
item is the
speed limit.
change.
Yeah, so
I
6.1,
stand corrected. You're right.
we're
Yes.
strictly talking about the speed limit right now.
Yes, okay. And I would also like to echo Commissioner Parker, Councilmember Parker's comments to thank the community for all of you coming out today. Thank you for the many, many letters that have been sent. Hearing your personal stories and your insight is very informative, very helpful. I know some of us on the commission try to get out and see the areas in person, which I did over the weekend. And even though I was very familiar with these streets, with the main streets, Woodmont, Estes, and Abbott Martin, I was not familiar with the interior neighborhood streets. So your experiences, your information, your letters have been very, very helpful. So thank you for coming out. And for those that might be listening online, thank you for taking time to write to us. And it really does help shape our kind of how we look at the situation. And I would also say that I hear your concerns about other infrastructure improvements and the need for enforcement. I wanted to just lift those comments up as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner?
I really like the idea of using the preliminary speed study for the traffic calming to then go in and kind of do a speed study. I think it uses resources appropriately. Not necessarily related specifically to this road, but if this is something that we are able to do and willing to do, it would be a good idea, I think, for all applications to kind of be run through the tool as well. And then if there are opportunities to lower speed limits, to bring them before us. But totally supportive of moving forward with this today.
Thank you. Anything else? Hate to put you on the spot, Captain, but if we could, I know enforcement came up a few times, because you just talked to procedurally or some opportunities that we could provide an additional level of enforcement, and or if you already are, things you're seeing or could do?
Yep, certainly. I'm very familiar with the neighborhood. Used to work in this area, used to do enforcement in the little loop that's on the end there at the bottom of the hill. For our enforcement, the traffic division covers the entire county. We provide enforcement throughout all of Davidson County. And then the West Precinct specifically has this area in the Woodmont Lane neighborhood. So typically what happens with enforcement is we look at crash data internally, and we make decisions on enforcement based on crash data, and then we take community input through Hub Nashville requests, requests from council members, and directly from the community that reach out to us. So I know in the past we have received enforcement requests out here and have gone out there with our motorcycle officers. I'm not sure, it's been a while since we received any request from a council member, but we receive somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 to 700 of those a year throughout the county. So we get to them as they come in, and we need to be reminded sometimes to go back out to areas. I'll be very honest about that. So we are committed to doing enforcement where we need to, and we will certainly be out there. I remember when the streets in there were 30 mile per hour speed limits before the big change in the city to all of them being 25 in the neighborhood streets. So we will certainly be out there and doing our part.
Appreciate that perspective. I think, this commission, do you have something else?
Yes, sir, but I can wait.
No, go ahead.
Just one more on the data question. We have pulled up, I guess y'all can see this too, crash query from 23 to 26. There's only one registered there, and we heard a number of accounts of like mailboxes being hit and whatnot. So if NDOT and/or Traffic Division could let us know, when folks go in and report. I know a lot of these go unreported just from anecdotal experience talking to my constituents, but if somebody goes and does the non-injury crash, I think it's through Hub that you can get to and reports that, does that end up in our data where we're analyzing?
I'm glad you observed that. What you're seeing is data that is available from TDOT, and the single dot that you see in the southwestern quadrant is a blue property damage only. I didn't go into the details of that particular crash report, but anecdotally, we've heard of vehicles striking mailboxes. If those are not reported, if there's no police report, there's not a reported accident, then that crash information is not filed upstream to TDOT, and so we won't see it on this particular tool set. So there may be indeed unreported crashes like a mailbox, but if there's an injury crash, it's going to be reported. If there's a two vehicle crash, yeah, you can count on those being reported. But a mailbox strike or maybe somebody runs into a ditch, that's not necessarily going to show up in this data.
And if I may just follow up to clarify, so if there's you can call non-emergency and you can wait, or you can do a non-injury submission to you can find the link through Hub. And when we do the non-injury submissions through Hub, do those filter up into this TDOT data and or do we use those for crashes in these analyses?
They do not.
Okay, that's something we might want to have a bigger conversation about.
So the state reporting limits, state law says that any property damage crash that results in damage over $1,500, which is most crashes, should be reported to the law enforcement agency and to the state. And then the law enforcement agency reports that report through the state Department of Safety. TDOT gets their crash data from the Department of Safety that we send all that to. The Hub requests, or the Hub crash reports, never come to the police department and do not get reported to the state because they are not law enforcement crash reports.
So if people want like a mailbox struck to count for data in their area, they need to call non-emergency and wait for a response?
That's correct.
I wish it was not the case, but now y'all know. Thanks.
But we can't can NDOT use the data? I mean, are we limited to only using the TDOT data, or are we allowed to use other data sources, aka our own from Hub Nashville?
The information that we're obtaining from TDOT is drawn from the police reports. I don't know that a Hub request is going to be something that we're going to be able to easily search and filter for, angled crashes. I mean, it's not to say that these, a mailbox strike is not something that's readily susceptible to correction by an all-way stop. The crashes that are here in this TDOT data set do present us with usable data that we can use to address intersections of concern. That's how I use the tool.
Yeah, I guess, we've seen the LiDAR images. That's been an item before where like near misses helped us create a decision on if we were going to put an all-way stop. there or a crossing. So it seems like we can use other types of data if we have it.
Yes, sir. LiDAR is terrific for getting counts for pedestrian, how many pedestrians are here in a given time interval? How many vehicles are here in a particular time interval? How many instances are there where a pedestrian and a vehicle are in very close proximity, AKA near misses? LiDAR is good for that, but until there's a documented, until there's a crash report that's made that identifies the conditions of the crash. It identifies the vehicles involved. It identifies the first manner of collision. Was it a vehicle in transport? Was it a parked vehicle? Was there, were there injuries? Was it a serious injury? Was the type of crash an angled crash or a rear end or a side swipe? None of that would really be available or applicable for a mailbox strike, for example.
Yeah.
I think it's clear there's a bigger discussion that needs to be had around the reporting, around the data and the things that we can utilize to make these decisions in the future. I think collectively, this item specifically around the speed limit, there's general support. I would like, if I may, move on to a motion on this item. And
One more question. It's different than that data.
yes.
Okay. I was trying to go through the Choose How You Move plan and then the sidewalk priority program, and it doesn't appear that any of these streets are planned for any sidewalks in the near future. Is that correct?
I'm not aware of planned sidewalk improvements in this neighborhood.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have a motion on item 6.1?
Move approval of 6.1.
Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been first and second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6.1 has passed. 6.1.1, authorization for new 20-mile-per-hour speed limit on Woodmont Lane from Woodmont Boulevard to Abbott Martin Road, Dartmouth Avenue from Estes Road to Woodmont Lane, Auburn Lane from Estes Road to Abbott Martin Road, and to Lane, it's Court, right?
Chair, I think we sort of combined 6.1 and 6.11.
Yeah, that's what I was
This
just
is-
thinking
this
as we
is
were
probably-
reading.
I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but I think we do need to consider 6.12 as its own.
Legal?
Yes, so
Help me.
I understood you to be just now voting to approve 6.1.1.
Sorry.
Right? Is everyone in agreement?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, okay, good.
My
And
apologies.
that was the 20 per mile speed limit change for those multiple streets.
So do
And
I
so
do?
now you're on 6.1.2, which is the
Okay.
authorization for the new multi-way stop control for Woodmont Lane and Tulane Court.
Gotcha. So procedurally, we don't need to redo that. We're good on 6.1.1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 6.1.2, authorization for new multi-way stop control for Woodmont Lane and Dartmouth Avenue only. We're breaking out Woodmont
no.
Lane and Tulane.
It's Woodmont Lane and Tulane Court. That's going to be 6.1.2. This was the way we amended the agenda.
Yes, I mean,
Because-
someone
because
referenced the
the way on the
staff.
staff analysis, I know
Yes.
it's a little confusing.
Someone referenced
See
the
it,
staff
let's see.
report for the.
Yes, let's go to
So
the,
6.1.2, new multi-way stop control for Woodmont Lane and Tulane Court. Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
Thank you. For the requested all-way stops, NDOT did a MUTCD warrant analysis for 3 intersections and determined that 2 met warrants for warrant B for sight distance. The AASHTO Green Book says that for a 25-mile-an-hour design speed, there should be 155 feet of stopping sight distance available at an intersection so that the crash warrant says, I'm sorry, not the crash warrant, the sight distance warrant says if there's insufficient sight distance for a vehicle to make a turn or proceed through the intersection, then the warrant is satisfied. The AASHTO Green Book says you need 155 feet of stopping sight distance. We went out and measured the available stopping sight distance at these 3 intersections and determined that the 2 to the south that you see there, including this one, item 6.1.2, Woodmont Lane and Tulane Court satisfied the warrant B for sight distance. It is the intersection you see in the middle there that says Woodmont/Tulane North. That view is from Tulane Court looking to the north, and the other one is looking to the south that is obscured by some mature trees. And it has less than 155 feet in either direction, but for different reasons. One is, looking to the south, there's mature trees. Looking to the north, there's a hill and a curve. The hill and the curve makes the intersection qualify for Warrant B, and we're recommending approval of an all-way stop control at this location.
Any questions from commissioners? Ms. Cornstick.
And so just to clarify, it's like a major and minor road, is that correct?
They're both minor local roads.
Minor
All the streets in this neighborhood are minor local residential roads.
Okay.
Any other questions? We have a motion?
So moved.
You have a second? First and second, any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6.1.2 has passed. We're moving on to 6.1.3. Will be on
Yes.
next month's meeting. So no deferral or anything's needed because it's not on the agenda at all, right?
Correct. It's not even on the agenda. So, but just for people's information, it will be on the agenda.
And that's Auburn for folks.
Woodmont Lane and Auburn. Yes.
Chair, if I may, this intersection came in from the community, but this was received after the agenda was publicly noticed. I included it into the staff report for this meeting, but I'll include this actually on the agenda for the August meeting. So my apologies for the confusion.
Great. Okay, 6.1.4, new multi-way stop control for Woodmont Lane and Dartmouth Avenue, which is on the north part of the screen.
Yes, sir. It is the northernmost that's it, the northernmost intersection there. The photos that I have at the intersection are at the top there. The top left is looking to the south, and the other side is looking to the north. I spoke with the property owner on that corner about whether they would be opposed if we did some vegetation maintenance there. And in the words of the property owner, they said, no, cut it all down. We're not going to cut it all down, but we're going to cut some of the bushes there. I've already sent in a work order to our right-of-way maintenance crews so we can open up that visibility. At this intersection, there exists greater than 155 feet of sight distance, and so it does not satisfy Warrant B, nor any of the other MUTCD warrants for multi-way stop control. There is an existing stop for Dartmouth Avenue, but Woodmont Lane does not have stop control. The neighborhood flyer that you see here in the middle is showing some proposed speed cushion locations, and honestly, it's a neighborhood that could use some traffic control. I'm sorry, not traffic control, but traffic calming. And again, the neighborhood selections are due later this summer. I don't know whether this neighborhood will be among those selected, however.
Just to be clear, it's not in this commission's purview on the speed cushions, correct?
That is correct, sir.
So that's information only.
Yes, sir. That's just to let you know that speed limits and stop signs are not the end-all, be-all of speed controls and safety improvements in this neighborhood.
So cushions could be something that's worked on outside of this commission.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
It was a consideration for Auburn and Woodmont in the central portion of this map? Or is that what's next month?
Auburn and Woodmont is already controlled by multi-way stop control.
Okay. Good to know. So to be clear, the recommendation from NDOT is to deny new multi-way stop for Woodmont Lane and Dartmouth Avenue. Site distance at this intersection is correctable by trimming vegetation. A request has already been sent to NDOT right-of-way for maintenance. Question from commissioners?
I have one. This looks to be a very kind of rounded off intersection. And I think that the vegetation will help with that, but is there is there anything, outside of like waiting on traffic calming where we could do like bulb outs to make it more of a T and less of a, I don't even know what you call that shape?
Yes, sir, that is a possibility of doing some intersection hardening. There are some things that can be done that are not vertical measures, and they're not, it's not always stop control. It's not anything that needs to be voted on by the commission, but if this neighborhood were not selected for neighborhood traffic calming, there's still things that we can do, to enhance safety there. And some of your ideas do have merit for that. So again, no matter whether this is selected for traffic calming or not, it's not the end of improvements in the neighborhood.
If I may make a suggestion so this map in the center is not your map.
No, sir, that is provided from the neighbors who emailed me after I published the agenda. That was a pretty good sketch of the entirety of the neighborhood and a lot of the intersections that they were concerned about. I just wanted to include that so the commissioners could see, hey, this is what the neighbors appear to be concerned about here, here, and here.
Do we have a map that shows the current conditions and what we're adding potentially? And where I'm going with this is, in looking at this, it looks like there's no multi-way stop at Auburn and Woodmont, right?
Yeah, you don't see that on the neighborhood flyer, but that particular intersection it's an existing four-way stop.
I think from a holistic consideration for this entire area, with the potential of deferring 6.1.4, since we've got to bring 6.1.3 back, it would be a positive outlook for the entire neighborhood if for this commission, if we could have a map that showed where the existing stops are and then what we're adding at Woodmont and Tulane, and then defer this item to next month so that we can look holistically at what the condition is.
I can absolutely do that. I can give you a look at what before and after would look like, if that's what the commission would like.
If the other commissioners are good with that, I think just seeing a map that shows there's a stop sign here, there's not one there, this is what we're moving, so that as we're making these decisions, we can really understand, what that looks like.
Okay, yeah, I can absolutely do that if the commission chooses to defer that item. I would like to point out that the analysis of whether it satisfies an MUTCD warrant or not, that's not going to change.
Sure.
By that time, I should be able to get you some photos of the intersection after the vegetation has been cut.
Great. Any rejection from that by commissioners? Yes, sir.
Can I add a request of signage? Can we also see it's the regulatory advisory signs? I think there's a sign that's one that says 15 miles an hour because of concealed driveways, and then there was brought up in public comment of street speed limit strictly enforced. Can those also be added to the map, just so we have an idea of what's out there? I might have broken that.
There's always one more question.
Yes, I can include that. We're having microphone issues.
Thank you.
Do we need to hold until we get the microphones? Is it all of them or just you? Well, mine's not working.
Mine, I hit mine twice and then it started working.
Hey, we're back in business.
Great. Was your question answered? You want
Yes.
signs on that map? Okay.
Thank you.
So with that, yes, sir. Commissioner Gibbs.
I have a question for this overall area. There was, during the comment, it was brought up that there's issues with the stop signs at Estes. Are those being considered for the new traffic control signals? Is this area being considered for those new traffic control signals?
I believe the comment was the backup at Estes and Abbott Martin. The signals there were causing people to, please shake your head if I'm correct, and causing people to cut through. But yes, I think the signal, I think understanding holistically, there's a signal here, there's a stop sign here, would help us. Please state your name for the record, sir.
Yes, my name is Brad Freeze. I work with NDOT. So That's a great point, and we actually took a note for that, and we will put that into our evaluation for our traffic signal group to see what type of delay is currently out there to see how signal enhancements can improve that.
Great. Thanks for that. Any other thing from commissioners? So the request is to defer item 6.14 with the understanding that we'll be talking about 6.1.3 and staff provide a comprehensive map including signal signage so that we can have a clear understanding of stop starts and things as we're considering our vote. Do we have a motion? Go ahead.
I'll move as such, defer one meeting deferral.
Do we have a second? Second. It's been first and second to defer item 6.14. Any questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We oppose? 6.1.4 has been deferred. I do want to piggyback off Ms. Holler's comments and other commissioners about public comment, public input. There's definitely some positive dialogue and the positive conversation. The role of this commission is first pedestrian safety, and then as Captain mentioned, public trust is another piece of success in our community. So just want to commend you all again for coming in, speaking up, emailing, and making your voices heard. So thank you on that. Item 6.2. CD19, authorization to exchange locations of existing 3 valet spaces in existing paid parking spaces on the southwest corner of 3rd Avenue South and Peabody Street, requested by Printing House Hotel. Please state your name for the records.
Good afternoon, Emmanuel Matias, NDOT. So we brought this for approval today for several reasons. One of the reasons was that the proposed 3rd Avenue location would be more appropriate to support the hotel's actual valet volume and provide a safer, more intuitive arrival experience for the hotel guests. Currently, this area is paid parking, and so there's a confusion, and we found that some of the guests that meant to valet actually would park in the parking spaces, and there was no payment. And so it would be, in general, a better operational move to move the valet into the frontage of the hotel, which is usually the standard. It creates a better guest experience. It improves visibility. It provides additional curb capacity, and it also reduces some vehicle circulation for those guests who were trying to look at the valet option, which is at this point at the Peabody side, on the side of the hotel, not in front of it. So at the request of the hotel itself and then the company that is operating this valet, there was a request to relocate these spaces, which we, after further analysis, agreed. And we, due to the capacity and to the total vehicles served, there was a request to add additional 3 spaces. And as mentioned earlier, since these paid parking spaces were underutilized, we saw no reason not to grant this. So it currently stands, they would request 6 spaces in front of their hotel instead of the 3 that have their Peabody, and we would make Peabody a paid parking spot for 3 spaces, I believe. So it would be technically a swap of 3 spaces plus 3 additional spaces in the front of the hotel.
Just procedurally, we're combining 6.1 or 6.2.1 and 6.2.2 into one vote. Is that what's preferred? Okay. We good with that, legal, or do we need to split it up?
I would make them 2 different items. That's how they appear on the agenda, and they're authorized by 2 separate ordinances.
Okay.
So just to keep it clean.
So as you explained, what you explained covered both items.
I'm so sorry, I missed your question, sir.
What you explained covered both items, I believe, but we're going to vote on them separately.
That's fine.
Okay. So the item, just for clarity, the item in front of us is 6.2.1, relocate all existing valet spaces on south side of Peabody Street at 501 3rd Avenue South to west side of 3rd Avenue South, replacing with new paid parking. Commissioners, we have any questions?
I guess I don't really understand the difference between 2.1 and 2.2 then. They both say the same thing.
They do, but they're different ordinances that authorize each one, so I think, and they appear on the agenda as two different items. So I think just for the sake of like clarity and organization, it makes sense just to vote on them separately, even though they're effectively doing the same thing.
Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Two questions. First question is, since we're going from 3 to 6 spaces for valet, can you explain the pricing difference on the valet permit for that?
Yes, sir. So it would be double, obviously. Currently, it would be, I believe the valet is around $15,000 per year, and this would make it closer to 30, which is more than what paid parking would bring in on an annual basis. So it actually makes sense from that perspective also.
And then second question is, Connect Downtown envisions 3rd Avenue as a very busy route. It is both a mobility lane and a transit priority corridor. Can you explain how this valet lane fits into both of those designs, which mobility lane is supposed to be a phase 1 lane?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. I was anticipating it coming up. So this, obviously, all the valet lanes that we approve, or you approve and we bring to you, they are based on annual permits. Currently, there is no action being taken in this matter, or there's a delay in that it wouldn't happen in the upcoming year or two. So for the time being, it's not a temporary solution because it will yield an annual permit. But just to remind everybody, these annual permits are granted, they're applied for every October, and they're valid for 1 year. So whenever we get closer to them materializing, we would then not approve the permit for the following year. And the hotel is aware of this. And actually, that would revert back to the current setup where Peabody would be the valet again in the future.
And so just to clarify, there's no design for this section of 3rd Avenue then for the mobility lane?
Not at this point. Otherwise, we would not be bringing this to your attention.
Is there a new Connect Downtown coordinator? Is that I think there's changes there.
This is Brad Freeze with NDOT. So the question is if there's a new coordinator for Connect Downtown, if you're referring to Brent Schultz, who actually is no longer with the department. We're currently in transition. There is someone who is stepping into that role in the intermediate, but we are looking at filling that role in the future.
And intermediately, who can we reach out to ask those questions?
You can. Marty Sewell would be the best person to reach out to.
Great, thank you.
Councilmember?
As long as the hotel folks understand that there might need to be another change in the ideally near future, but I understand that might be a ways off. I have no issues with this for the time being.
Thank you.
Commissioner Holler?
Oh, thanks, Chair Mason. Thank you all. I have a couple of questions for you this evening, or afternoon still, I guess. What would be the hours of operation for the valet spaces?
It's 24/7.
I'm sorry?
It's 24/7.
24/7, okay.
Yes,
Does that need to be stipulated?
Is that something that's variable?
Currently is 24/7, so, I mean,
So it's the same
it's the same
hours?
operating, yeah, the operating hours are not changing. So it was approved previously 24/7. We technically are moving the 3 spaces and adding 3 more with the same hours.
The same hours, okay. And it's fine to include that if you'd like in the motion. Just for clarity's sake.
My next question is now mute, which was going to be, what will be the usage when those valet hours are not in effect? So that takes care of that. My next question is, just before this meeting, and I have not had time to really read through it and process the letter that we received from Mr. Marquez from Raglan Company involved in this request. So my question would be to NDOT or to you all, has his concerns been addressed?
Andrew, can you speak to the letter that was received?
He refers to planting of trees and other improvements and so forth. It's a pretty lengthy letter, but I have not had time.
Yes, that was a letter that was just received with about an hour before this meeting started.
Right.
And it suggested that instead of the using the parking cutout on Peabody Street, that it be converted into landscaping uses.
If I might just add,
I think there's a lot more in the letter, but
Yes, there was a lot more, but essentially
It's a
it
two-page
was,
letter.
hey, instead of using this for pay parking, turn it into something else. Turn it into a non-parking use.
Let's let Ms. Holler. Is it related to that, or?
Yeah, it would be like two specific questions out of the letter, just so we had that.
no, please go. I'm good. My next question is on the next item, so.
Okay.
So one of the specific questions that was brought up in the letter was a good question, is the lay-by lane may not be a full space. I believe that, it said it was less than 8 feet, which is a normal parking space. Do we believe that there's enough space within the valet lane now to do pay parking?
well, they accommodate, in both cases, it accommodates a vehicle. So if it was approved for valet, it's sufficient for parking. In fact, valet might require a little more space, so if that was approved previously, then it shouldn't be a problem for a parked vehicle.
Thank you. And then the second question would be, basically, it sounded like this might have been an SP, so this valet lane was supposed to be based on the legislation that approved this location. And are we okay with changing what was in a potential SP based on recommendations from NDOT now? Which is an item in the future.
Devin Doyle, NDOT. I'm glad the mic is on, so I don't have to come up here and push a bunch of buttons and make a fool of myself. The actual cutout on Peabody was added after the fact, the valet operation, to my knowledge, was not spoken to in the SP approval. During the construction, there was a request as the project was evolving to actually take another look at where they could provide valet. And so at the time, it was coordinated for Peabody because of some of the questions that you were asking earlier about Connect Downtown. And so in my opinion, this would not have to go back through the SP process.
Thank you. I was just going to say the way that I don't need to comment on it. Thank you.
Any other comments from commissioners? Not. Do we have a motion on 6.2.1?
Sorry, Chairman.
Oh, yes.
Just clarifying question. So where the existing valet is, there is a cutout where we are suggesting, and NDOT is recommending it be moved on Third, there is no cutout. Is that correct?
So that is correct. However, the current lane where the valet would be moved is currently paid parking, so it's a wider parking lane. And the cutout itself is, yes, on the Peabody, and that would be paid parking.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So the cutout at Peabody
Yes?
would accommodate paid parking.
Got that.
And then the frontage of the hotel currently is paid parking, so that would turn into valet. But it's a parking area.
The question is, there's no cutout on Third Avenue for this.
There's no cutout.
But what is the width of that, or what is the traffic? From the photo, I see parking spaces and then 2 lanes. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes.
I see a double yellow line right here.
Again, it accommodates a vehicle being parked, so it's wide enough for parking and for valet.
Does that help answer your question, Ms. Holler?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? We have a motion?
I guess I do one more question, sorry. What's the route to get to the garage now?
That's a good question.
I don't believe, I don't believe it has changed. It's making a right on in the alley and then on Almond Street, and then coming out to Peabody and back on 3rd.
Okay, thank you.
The question period has closed. Do we have a motion?
I would make a motion, Chair, thank you, with a change whereby we would state the hours of operation are 24/7.
Does that mean approve
To
and
approve.
change that? Okay.
And this is
To approve.
6.2.1.
6.2.1, to approve as recommended by NDOT, and to add that the valet hours of operation will be 24/7.
We have a second? Second. It's been first and second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 6.2.1 has passed with the adding of it stating that it's 24/7. 6.2.2, relocate up to 6 paid parking spaces from the west side of 3rd Avenue South to the south side of Peabody Street at 501 3rd Avenue South, replacing with new valet lane. You are pretty well, I mean, any other additional comments to this? Commissioners, any additional questions? You have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second?
Second.
It's been first and second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 6.2.2 is passed. 6.3, CD 17, authorization for new valet lane on the south side of Houston Street at 521 Houston Street for approximately 5 spaces, effective 4 p.m. to midnight, 7 days a week, requested by multiple businesses. Mr. Mateus.
So actually, this valley cutout would serve multiple businesses, which would be 2 restaurants and a whiskey bar. However, the permit is assigned to Alavida, which is one of the restaurants in this cutout. And we are in support of this for a couple of reasons. One of them being that this area is obviously really busy, and we have more work that will come into this area in the future when it comes to curb utilization. However, at this point, because of the lot, the overflow lot that they would utilize, it would accommodate up to 40 vehicles, plus around 5 to 6 vehicles, depending on the length in the valley cutout itself, up to 10 minutes. And then, of course, the rotation of it. If you were to make this paid parking, it would accommodate 6 vehicles, so 5 or 6 vehicles. So the difference between 45 and 5 is one of the key indicators. And then the fact that it also serves, and we usually bring to your attention valleys that would serve one business. This is a combination of multiple in the same cutout. And so we have a couple of those in the city, but I think this is kind of the way that we would like to go. And it's ideal to where you would have one valley cutout serving multiple businesses. And so at this point, when we discussed this with the councilwoman of the district, she was in favor of it under condition that we do some audits throughout the trial period, which we have done and have found no issues. We have done, I believe, up to 8 or 9 audits throughout the week and throughout the weekend. And all the violators that have been in this cutout were not related to anything that Valley has done. And so we had no reason to not move it forward. And lastly, there was a condition from the councilwoman that this gets approved for the year 2026. And if there would be any issues with this valley between today and October, when the renewals are due, we would flag those. And then if something is severe, then they would not get extended into 2027. So at this point, we're still trying to get this approved for 2026. And then if there's no issues, we'll extend that 2027. If there are issues, then we would let you know of a revocation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions from commissioners? Yes, sir.
When we do approve a valet in the middle of the year, does it always just go to the end of the regular year and then has to go through reapproval? Or is this
It doesn't have to go through reapproval, but it's for calendar year, so it's from January till December every year.
Well, So you're asking us to only approve through October of 20?
No, so I'm sorry. We are asking to get this valley approved. If there are issues with the valley, then we would bring it to your attention to get it revoked. But if there is no issues, we are the ones who would extend the permit based on the applications they submit in October.
Yeah, so we're just approving
Correct.
today.
Yes,
It's
sir.
a one-year approval from today, or you will then do a staff approval when it's up?
Sorry for the confusion, Brandon Boston with Laz. So you're approving this just like any other valet. So you would approve it, and then the signage will go up, and it would go on for a period until either the business goes out of business or if it gets revocated. So it's not for a one-year period. You're approving it, and it stays approved for forever, pretty much. Now, if there's issues, we'll come back to the panel and discuss, those challenges. But they would renew it in October for the next calendar year, but that's not something we bring to you. You just approve it, and we move forward.
Just to jump in, your specific request was that you would bring it back to us voluntarily on October 26th to note.
No.
Just for the record.
For the record, the request was for NDOT to monitor if anything changes in the operations between now and October, and if there would be issues and it would yield in revocation, then we would bring it to you. But if no issues, it would continue on.
Through this October of 26.
Correct.
What's the significance of October?
So we have renewals that are submitted around October.
Gotcha.
Right? So
For the next year.
Yeah, we just fill
Gotcha.
out we look at the applications, and then we move it forward for the next calendar year. But there's nothing that you have to do in October. You're just approving it for the purpose of being valet for the foreseeable future.
Understood.
I think that this is probably somewhat of a unique street for us, where if this is approved, we would have fairly large valet lane on the south side, a loading zone, and then another valet lane on the north side.
It's just one other valet operation at the Solo House across the street, and then this will be the second valet operation on the other side.
Right, yeah, and there's also a loading zone that's there too.
Correct. Yes, right in front of it. Yes, correct.
Will we be looking to potentially combine the other valet area into this one at some point, or will we continue with two on opposite sides?
We have looked into it at this point, but it's not compatible since the hotel is 24/7, and this would be 4 to midnight. So, the hotel experience and the restaurant experience is different. So that's why it is separate.
And also to keep in mind that both operators for each location may be different, so you have to keep that in mind. You have to keep the business separate. They're owned by two separate entities and two separate parcels.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is my neighborhood. I'm down there all the time. This weekend was a lot of fun. They closed this area down and let pedestrians roam. Supportive of moving forward with this. Just one other clarifying question as we do approve this. Do we have to make any statement around shifting the loading zone? It sounds like we were going to try to move the loading zone one space forward, so it's valet, loading, parking.
I can speak with that. Andrew Smith, NDOT. The commission previously approved the loading zone of those dimensions on the south side of Houston Street at that address, and shifting it does not require a new approval for that. It's still in front of that address, and the dimensions of the loading zone are still the same.
Great, okay.
Ms. Holler?
Oh, thank you, Chair. A couple just quick questions. First, I applaud your effort to combine valet with multiple users. I think that's a great way forward. Question regarding the current usage of the curb. Is that currently parking?
It's currently free parking.
Currently free parking, okay. And then what we're looking at across on opposite sides of both of the parking valet lanes, those are current spaces?
Currently free parking. Yes,
Currently free parking, okay. And then, was there magic Y5? Is that the magic? I mean, do you really think there's going to be that much demand?
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat the question? If you
Sure. What's the magic to 5 spaces? Do you all think that there will be that much demand to support it?
It spreads across all 3 businesses, so it's placed kind of ideally. And I mean, the businesses are ramping up, and we already see some demand. So it looks like it's going to be needed. And if it's not, again, we can revisit.
Okay, and they do operate until midnight, 7 to including Sundays? Those businesses?
Yes, ma'am. And after midnight, it becomes free parking again.
And my question was, do the businesses operate until midnight?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, they do. Okay. And what I heard you say, Councilmember Vo has specifically asked for NDOT to do an assessment after a few months of operation.
Yes, ma'am. To continue to do the audits that we have done so far. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to be clear on that, the assessment's not coming back to us. If it's good,
No, sir. I'm so sorry. I think I confused everybody. I just wanted to follow up with what the request was to make sure it's
NDOT will
transparent.
monitor the success of this valet. Great.
Thank you.
Do you know where they're planning on parking?
Yes, it's actually should be on the map highlighted. I think if you move down, you should be able to see that. There's a lot on Humphreys. I can see it on, if you could please move down a little bit. I think
Oh, they can't. It's screenshot.
oh, it's screenshotted. It's really close by. They would technically go make a right on
Right on Brown.
Brown Street. Yes, sir.
Right on Brown and right on Humphreys. Just he's circling the block.
Do you have a projected usage for this?
So over the past month or so, they had 700 cars that visited the valet lane and around 1,400 guests at the same time. And again, the lot itself holds up to 40 vehicles, and with valet, it always rotates. So we expect, and the code tells the valet operators that they have 10 minutes to stage vehicles legally, and then after that, it will be moved to the overflow lot, which is that 40-space lot. They see around 30 cars per night at this point, which is usually a standard for a restaurant. But again, this has just opened, and it's 3 of them, so we expect those numbers to be a little higher, hence why we also suggested for the entire 5 spaces or 5-6 spaces to be utilized for valet.
Is there a fear that this will change the level of service at Martin Street and Houston Street, since there are 2 valets and they're one-way roads, and they both have this presumably the same peak hours, so that this would eventually lead to a stop control necessity at that intersection?
I cannot answer that question. Sorry.
Hopefully with enough runners at this location, they will minimize the numbers of vehicles waiting to pull into the valet space. Your point is valid, and that'll be something that NDOT will have to monitor for.
And just to clarify or to add to it, that's a violation from our perspective. So if we have enforcement go there and see that they are staging vehicles outside of the valet zone, which is dedicated for valet use, then that's a strict violation, and they would be cited, and or it would be one of those strikes that you need 3 of to be on the revocation list.
Commissioners, would you rather have the valet lane and the loading zone shift to the end of this block? And then it's parking in the first 5 valet lane loading? Is that kind of what you're?
I think one thing also to note, I think in the code it states that the operation needs to be in front of the actual address. So if we shift it up front, there's another business, I forget the name of it, a little bit east of this parcel. So you'll be shifting in front of that business as well.
I have a question. Do the businesses pay you like valet? They hire you to valet and you offer free valet, or are you at $25 a car and it goes to your company altogether?
Oh, so
we take
usually
the free parking away,
Yeah.
to help help your bottom line, your valet bottom line.
So typically these restaurants will offer complimentary valet services and they make their money from the dining revenues. And it's a good feature to get customers.
That's what I'm saying. Is this
Yes.
a shared, the businesses in that community sharing the valet?
Yes, for those three restaurants, yes, is one valet
It's not
company.
just a parking.
Correct. One valet operator who is servicing all three businesses.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Chair.
Go ahead. Yes. I couldn't see your mic, sorry.
That's okay. This might be a question for legal. Do we need to say that on the off hours that this is not valet, that these will convert to street parking, or because they're already designated as street parking, we don't need to put that in the motion?
Yeah, you're only approving it from 4 to midnight. So in that, it speaks to what the regulation of the
Existing.
curb would be. And then outside of those hours, it would revert back to what it currently is.
Existing.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
That's on the agenda, too.
And when are we going to get to see the results of potential paid parking in this area, the study that we're kind of working on?
We have ongoing active discussions about it. I just don't have an end date for you, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But it is on everybody's radar, including the councilwoman and Dot and us. And I spoke to the director about it last Friday, actually, so it's fairly fresh.
Any other questions? We have a motion.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
It's been first and second. Any questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do we have any opposed? It is passed. Brandon, Emmy, really appreciate your hard work. I know behind the scenes, there's a lot of coordination and effort made. This is a pretty tight corridor, so I know it wasn't easy to do, and appreciate your hard work on that. Item 7.0, unfinished business, sorry. 7.1, authorization for a new traffic signal at Granny White Pike and Tyne Boulevard, requested by NDOT. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Chair Mason. This item was deferred from last month. This is a proposed signal at Granny White Pike and Tyne Boulevard that does meet EMU-TCD warrants for a signal upgrade. It's currently an all-way stop. It has a flashing red beacon. I think there were some questions about whether this was in the city of Oak Hill, and technically the parcels of land are Oak Hill, but in the documents that created Oak Hill and Forest Hills, those documents exclude Granny White Pike from those satellite cities. So signal improvements on Granny White Pike are the responsibility of Metro Nashville. And therefore, this item is appropriately in the Traffic and Parking Commission's jurisdiction. I have been in contact with the city manager of Oak Hill, and he is supportive of the signal upgrade at Granny White Pike and Tyne Boulevard.
Thank you. Questions? We have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a second?
Second.
It's been first and second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is passed. Item 7.2, discussion on acceptance of new public streets and how development affects parking changes or other curb restrictions. We good to defer?
Yeah, Chair, if it's okay, I'd like to make a motion to defer for one meeting.
We have a second?
Second.
And that, are we good with that? Mr. Doyle, you good? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 7.2 has been deferred. Item 7.3, CD18 update related traffic and parking changes for 12 South requested by NDOT. Before I run through this is a non-voting item, correct? Just an update?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Great. Legal, do I need to read this for a non-voting item for the record? Just, or no? No pressure.
I realize it is fairly lengthy. You're not voting on any of these. I think it's fine just to announce generally what the topic is. 7.3, all items under 7.3.
Great. All items under 7.3 CD18, update on related traffic and parking changes for 12 South requested by NDOT, and I'll just do the heading. So 7.3.1, new 2-hour limited parking on both sides of 12th Avenue South, effective 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. between Ashwood Avenue and Kirkwood Avenue. 7.3.2, new rideshare pickup and drop-off zones, as stated below. 7.3.3, new loading zones effective 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. with 2-hour time-limited parking effective 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the locations below. And 7.3.4, new 2-hour limited parking on the side streets next to the businesses from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mr. Mateus, thank you.
Thank you so much. So I have several updates. I believe they are all good updates with good news. We've held a community meeting on June 2nd. We had a really good engagement. The room was full. There was a lot of excitement, a lot of communication, a lot of back and forth, a lot of questions that were raised, and a lot of answers that were given. By that said, we feel like at this point, there's some more work to do, and moving something forward at this point would not be productive. There's one thing that I wanted to mention as it pertains to all of this, is that in the previous conversations that we had last year, one of the biggest components to that, as Councilmember Cash mentioned, is the employees and the employers. Obviously, the issue extends to the residents, it extends to the guests, it extends to the employers, and it extends to the people that work there, the employees. One of the biggest issues last year was the parking for employees, and so we partnered with one of the parking operators, PMC, who came up with the plan to provide 100 spaces for $99. And that was presented, and I agree with the constituent that was earlier. I don't think it got the attention it should have gotten. I think it's a really big first step, and so I just wanted to pinpoint that because that's something new that hasn't existed before and currently exists. The applications for that are rolling in. It's a little, so we'll see how this is going to take off. The meeting overall was successful. We planned to be there for an hour and a half, ended up being there half an hour after the 2-hour mark. And after the meeting, we conducted internal conversations about this and decided that we'll need to have a consultant hired that would do analysis and then provide 2 or 3 options as a feedback. While that is happening, we would also be able to meet with the community members who spoke in this community meeting and felt like there's more to be discussed and provided for the loading zones themselves, some of the placements, and also some more for the ride shares and the side streets. So there's a lot of conversation still ongoing, and we'll have more data and more information with the progression of time, but at this time we're not ready yet.
Thank you. Commissioner Cornette.
So in May, our motion, the motion was to defer for 2 meetings. So why aren't we voting on it today? 60 days was the motion?
Well, if I might just add, and I forgot to mention this, one of the requirements was one of the requests that you provided was to identify if paid parking or time parking is preferred. That was the main reason for the deferral. And so the survey was activated, and there's not a clear, decisive understanding as to which one is preferred. And in the meeting, it was clear also that there still needs to be more conversation and more engagement. So we thought it would be good to provide more time to really get the feedback from everybody, because there were some folks that felt like they were left out, even though we thought they were in. So it's not a simple issue.
Subpart to that, procedurally, if we did defer it in May to come back this month, indeed, is that something we need to?
I think then you would need to defer it again.
Okay, great point.
So hiring a consultant to look at some different options is one of the things we're asking that consultant to look at, a blended paid parking and resident parking, like where a resident on a street adjacent to the commercial area could purchase a pass to park on the street all year, but visitors to that street who are maybe visiting the businesses would pay like a paid parking rate. Is the consultant going to be looking at that?
I believe they will be looking at whatever other cities are doing as an example one, and then provide a list of options that would qualify for this area, and then we would go from there. I don't have the details of what the benchmark of that would be, or what exactly will be the list of things that he will look at, but they're the professionals to be able to identify this and compare it to other cities and states, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thanks, because I know that, there's this huge conversation happening on the Strip, the commercial, on 12 South, and then in the neighborhoods with RPP. And I think it's just really challenging to do either in isolation and something that's more comprehensive, that allows residents, extremely discounted access to the street parking, but also increases that turnover from visitors who are visiting the commercial area. I really see that as like, I don't see something that's not similar to that as the solution here. I haven't been in all these meetings. I'm not the council member for the area, but I've talked to a lot of people who have been involved in the meetings and the discussions, and I just really would encourage the consultant to at least put that on the menu of options, some kind of blended RPP and paid parking for the side streets, as well as, obviously paid parking for the 12 South itself.
Just shortly, since this was mentioned in the past, it was one of my things to look at anyway. So if he or she would not bring it up, then we would. And
Excellent.
so it's definitely going to be on the list.
And I know we're doing it in a sort of very complicated roundabout way in downtown right now, but I think there's probably a much cleaner way to do it that would work a lot smoother for a lot of people.
Appreciate your input, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Holler.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with Councilmember Parker's comments, and I appreciate the opportunity here to take a more comprehensive, holistic look. I kind of wish we had done that before the commission approved the RPPs that we've just approved. But that leads to my question, and will the consultant also take that into consideration? And I read the analysis that said hopefully this approach will limit further requests for restricted residential parking. So will the consultant actually be looking at those existing permits that have been approved by this body?
I believe that's going to be part of the conversation, and I think that we'll have to introduce the history of what has occurred and what has been approved, and then a path to the future, and then we'll probably have to meet somewhere in the middle. But all of that is going to be brought to your attention once it's ready, and then we can decide what to do from there.
Thank you. And my next point is regarding the spaces that we are looking for. This says free parking, and you mentioned that it's undetermined yet whether there's a preference to make those spaces free or paid, the 2-hour spaces. And I would ask that the consultant also look at not just the preferences of the community. I mean, clearly that's very important, but to add to that, the decisions that this body has already made relative to converting former free street parking to paid. So for example, not too long ago, we approved the conversion of free spaces to paid parking in Midtown Music Row. Also an urban community, also a mixed-use community, also residents, businesses. We have a Metropolitan park in the middle of that, and we voted to accept NDOT's recommendation for that to be paid parking. And here we are now discussing, not yet, but the option to make that free or paid. So as the consultant looks and studies and does all this work, I would ask that we look at what is the policy behind this, what is the basis relative to not just the demands and needs of that community, but in relation to other communities. And there are many urban communities here that have been converted to paid parking. What makes this so different? that we would even consider that being free, would be my question for the consultants. Thank you.
Thank you. I made notes. Appreciate it.
I guess my understanding of our agreement with the parking company, Laz, is that they would be able to provide us input on exactly something like this. So why are we hiring another consultant?
So yes, we provide input for anything related to improving the public right-of-way, paid parking, enforcement, technologies. So we've done that throughout, our tenure here. But it's the department's direction to add additional layer of eyes for something like they've done with Connect Downtown. They hired KCI to do a study of the whole framework of downtown. I think that's something similar to what they're looking to do with 12 South, which is different than what we provide in a small sense. KCI and Lazaro are two different companies who provide two different expertise, if you will, and I think that is kind of the direction maybe that the department is kind of looking to head in for this particular scenario, if you will. Does that make sense?
I think the idea is to do a more of a holistic approach, and that this was one of the comments that came in the community meeting also, that addressing 12 South is good. What about all the side streets? What about the RPPs that are requesting RPP that haven't been approved yet? And it's just, there's so much going on, and then you have the people who work there throughout the day and throughout the night. And again, the side streets were one of the big ones. And so when it just comes to, is this fully cooked yet? It just didn't feel that way.
I mean, I would encourage everybody to go back and read through what the agreement says. This seems like we are going to spend money just to get an answer that we already know what the answer should be. I kind of disagree with continuing to kick this down the road. We can put stuff in place and see how it works and then change it. But
Do we have an expected timeline for this process that you're describing?
Upon the last conversation with the director, he referenced a 3-month timeline.
In reference to
3 months.
For the consultant.
For the consultant to
onboarded,
complete
review,
yes, sir.
And have it back to us. Is that October?
Well, he specifically mentioned 2 weeks to hire the consultant, and another maybe 3 months for the work that they would do to come up with feedback.
I guess to be more pointed, to piggyback off of Commissioner Kornick's, when will we be in a place to where we can implement and/or pilot some things that works or helps?
My guesstimate would be October, November.
And when we first pushed this, to his point, I was cautious of this encroaching into the end of the year, which is what we're reaching for. So I think action is what we've heard from the public. And right now, we're kind of sitting in flux as we're doing the appropriate planning and coordination that we need. Also, to Commissioner Kornick's point, it may be healthy to review Laz's scope of services to where if there's something in there that provides the opportunity to provide some intermediary services while if an additional consultant is needed to review, that contract came to this commission and we approved a scope of services, and contractually, if there's something in there that you all can help us with, albeit I would hope that contractually we would honor that and take our best effort, right? Understand there's not, there may be some things that are out of your expertise or purview to where you need support, but you all have been very valuable and instrumental in what we've done so far. I think the trust is there in that we have an executed contract for you to execute. So I would just challenge and/or ask that we explore that and ensure that there's not anything that we can look at now from your all's expertise with the community's input to see if there's something intermediately we can do or present to this commission to take action? Councilman?
Thanks. And yeah, as we talk about timeline, if there's any code changes that are required, I would like to have those happening well before October, November, because that process takes a minimum of, and it would be referred here, and that's not a super fast process. I mean, so is there a way to, do something that's maybe a little more nimble, like you designate certain streets where paid parking is present as people have access to these steeply discounted yearly passes, and then we're not inventing a whole new program. We would just be making these streets paid parking, but we would designate with a code change that, bona fide residents of the street could get these super discounted passes that would allow them to park there for the year. Like, I feel like there's a maybe a simpler way to get to some recommendations, but yeah, the main point I wanted to make is if there's code changes that need to happen, let's start talking well before November.
Commissioner Holler?
Oh, thank you, Chair Mason. Would it be in our best interest to consider a moratorium at this point on any requests for RPPs while this study is done, whether it's through LAS or through KCI?
I'm sorry, I think KCI was just mentioned as an example. We don't know who that consultant is going to be yet.
Right.
Are you asking for 12 South specifically?
Yes.
I mean, every street currently is RPP, right?
No.
On the west side? No?
No.
There's still streets that do not have RPP, which is also part of the...
To my understanding, there's been discussion that there might be more requests coming before the commission. I see some Councilmember Cash shaking his head, yes. And the analysis by NDOT to the commission does state, as I mentioned earlier, that hopefully this new process would curtail any future requests for full RPPs on the street. So given those two conditions, would we as a commission, I'm not sure I don't think that's anything we can vote on. It's not on the agenda, but.
You could put it under, on the agenda for the next meeting if that's something you want to have on the agenda.
What's the item?
To have a moratorium.
Moratorium on any applications for RPP during this study period.
Well, if I might, we can just, and I'm not saying this is not a great idea, we can just note it on our end and not bring anything to your attention for approval that relates to RPP. I don't know if that would help.
Right. I mean, I know there's a lot of effort that goes with signing and petitions and so on and so forth. So if we are going to hold for this reason, I hate to see the community spend so much time and effort to keep that process going if we're not going to entertain it anyway.
Could that be attached to this deferral?
I think it would have to be a different item to consider at your next meeting.
Can we make a note to add more moratorium on RPPs?
Specific to this
We'd have to
study.
get a map and identify the streets that are not, and then we can discuss that next month.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
I think we received an email on June 29th. It looks like there was a food truck that had an approved permit, and they're now parking in parking spots in this area. Was that resolved? Is that something you guys approved? Is that something somebody else approved? I know that was sent to us, and they said it was unsafe. It does create a site distance issue out there.
That would be the permits office. If it's permitted, we would strictly enforce a non-compliance, which is difficult to do if it's a free parking space. It's a little easier if it's a paid parking space, but that would be the permits office, not the parking office.
Okay, that was sent to us in this area.
Yeah.
Who handles the food truck permits or vending?
The permits office.
Okay.
And my understanding too is that's still a pilot program that's never been brought before us. as a finalized set of rules of what should be in there?
I'm sorry, I cannot speak to that because that's not my department at all. We can ask the question if you'd like.
Can we add that to the agenda for next month too? The food truck pilot program.
I don't know if it matters. It's just a trailer. It's just a lemonade trailer. There's not even a truck. Somebody just parked it there.
Well, that would be enforcement.
I mean, I think the pilot is very old at this point, so I would at some point like to see the food truck program before us, so.
We added it. Great point. Any other questions? So there was a mention in the public comment period about info and the distribution of communication as we're rolling this out. Whether Laz or a consultant decides to do some intermediate things or just a full rollout in October, I would also add that we provide some sort of communication plan and or a way that we can communicate to the community of these changes. Go ahead.
If I may, with a lot of our, like when we're working on a street redesign or a large project, we will, they're usually not as this is very involved for a parking management for a neighborhood. So it might be helpful to set up like a project where there's just like some basic like slide decks that people can look at. Like here's the parking inventory we did. Here's how things are programmed now. Here's the streets that are RPP. So that when people get brought into the conversation that's going to be happening over the next few months, there's a website that they can be pointed to and be like, here's the basics. Like here's all the facts, so that in half an hour of thumbing through that, everybody can kind of get up to speed with everything that's happened so far. Just kind of what the vitals are, how many parking spaces, or this, that, and the other right now. It doesn't have to be super complicated. It's just got to have all kind of the facts so that folks can jump into the conversation and participate.
I made notes. Thank you for your suggestion.
Thank you, sir.
We've just to piggyback to the number of spaces. I think we've had a count in the previous meetings. So
Yeah, I think it's less for this commission and more for the
I understand,
community
yeah. So we'll already have some of the data, and then we'll add the data that you just mentioned, and we'll get to the social media team, see if we can maybe present something and share it with the council member. And
You're just like a landing page. Like,
yes,
yeah,
understood.
Yeah.
Yes,
That would
sir,
be awesome.
understood.
Thank you.
And
Thank
then
you.
businesses can send people, like, here's how, I think on top of that, like, we're going to do this in other areas too, right? So this would be a good practice for when we have situations in other communities where we're changing things, i.e. Woodmont Estates. That's coming up.
Understood.
Yes. Does that answer that? Any other questions? So a motion to the, so that's another, how long do we need to defer this?
I think a couple of months from now, and we can provide an update to see where we are. Would that work?
I'm fine with that. So, open up the floor for a motion to defer item 7.3 and everything below it for 60 days? 2 months?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Then first and second, any questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
It is passed.
Thank you.
Do we have any new business? Yes, Mr. Gibbs.
I had made a request to have someone from the Waymo come to speak to us about how they're operating here in Nashville. I'd like to see that for next month's meeting.
So staff would be reaching out to Waymo to request an appearance.
Yes, we'll make that happen.
Thank you.
An update's fine, right? Yeah, next month, at least an update on the communication. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Ms. Holler?
Oh, thanks, Chair Mason. As we are approaching the start of school, hard to believe, as I understand, NDOT works with MNPS and kind of does a, check around our schools to make sure that safety precautions are in place. And I just wanted to mention, these may already be on your radar, but there is a new elementary school opening in Midtown, which is Vanderbilt's new Roberts Academy and Dyslexia Center. It will have grades 3 to 5. I believe it is scheduled to open in August. It sits at a very, very, very busy intersection of Edge Hill Avenue, 17th Avenue South, and 18th Avenue South. And then I did have an inquiry relative to school zone signage for USN, which is on 21st Avenue South. I recognize that that's a T-Dot roadway, and there is traffic control. I believe it's MNPD that stations for students being picked up daily, well, Monday through Friday. So I don't see any school zone signs, slow down. The speeding on 21st is out of control, as well as 17th, where Roberts Academy is going. So is that something that if you all could just take a look at that?
We'll be happy to. Do you have the address, or let me have a cross street?
For USN?
Okay.
Oh, Roberts Academy is Edge Hill Avenue, and Mr. Smith, it runs between 17th and 18th Avenue South. There's already new traffic calming measures on 18th Avenue South. I presume those will stay, but there's nothing on the 17th Avenue side. And then USN has ingress and egress on both 19th Avenue South, but the main issue is 21st Avenue South. And that's between Grand and Edge Hill Avenue, or Scarrett Place, pardon me.
Thank you.
Yes.
What was the intersection where you said the walking signal was out?
That I just said?
No, you brought one up before. Do you remember?
Oh, there's been many. I don't know which one.
I noticed one at 18th and Grand. Is that the one on the southwest side?
Could have been.
Let me add that to the list as well. The crosswalk sign at southwest corner of 18th and Grand is out.
Right.
I think that's the same one. Anything else?
I'm good. Thank you.
Just a real quick question. As far as crosswalks and stuff, is there any type of an assessment that's done to make sure that there doesn't need to be any new striping or anything like that done? I think I heard someone say something like that last year. Just wanted to make sure something like that was happening.
Those can be refreshed with a request via Hub Nashville. They're also redone whenever that road is resurfaced. The road resurfacing doesn't take place, it happens on a regular schedule, but the refurbishment may take place in between resurfacings too. If there is a crosswalk that is worn, faded, you're not able to see it, please make a Hub request and we will get that refurbished.
I think your friends at Waymo could help with that too. Any other new business?
Commissioner Gibbs just reminded me, thank you. There's on Division Street in Midtown between 19th Avenue South and, 18th and 16th, where there's been construction there for a long time for apartment high-rise. The sidewalk is now open. Sidewalk looks great. There's still a lot of potholes along there. But what I wanted to bring to y'all's attention is there was a temporary mid-block crossing that was established while the construction was going on and the sidewalk was closed. The sidewalk has now been opened, but the signs are still there that says cross here. But I don't think, there's no crosswalk striping. I think that's intended to go away now that the sidewalk has been opened. Hello, Mr. Freeze.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Brad Freeze with NDOT. So yes, we actually perform inspections, through the work of those projects. So yeah, we will make sure that is addressed and removed appropriately within the appropriate time.
Thank you. And if you could look at the major potholes that are there from 18th to the roundabout. Thank you.
Captain? I make a motion to adjourn.
He always does that.
Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.